I need both the teas.
Oh,
There
you got
you
tea.
go.
I just got a cookie.
Look at it. So I'm drinking tea,
And a coffee.
Hello.
and Dom made it, so we know it's
Hiya,
good.
Earp Italy. Earp Italy. Yay, yay, yay.
So this one's...
I wasn't watching.
Dom made it, so she
then it'll be a
probably
proper
put
cup
the
of
milk in
tea.
first.
Have you been having a good weekend?
Oh my God, amazing. Don't send us home, yay! Adopt us, marry us, let us stay.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm already moved here.
Oh, good, okay. Mel said she was gonna move here because you can say the C word and it's not as bad. And I was like, that's enough? She's like, yep, that's enough for me.
I want my kids to be able to say it.
Yeah, exactly.
I want
Yeah.
that freedom.
It's a rite of passage.
It's
Yeah.
a
We all say it to
beautiful,
one-
beautiful
yeah.
country. It's a beautiful country. Yeah, exactly. It's a beautiful country.
Wow.
I wish I was as fast as you. I wish my brain could
You
just get
I was
that.
just thinking
You
how
can.
Lizzie was going
I
to sign
can't.
that.
Oh, Lizzie! Ayo! Ha, crazy sauce, crazy sauce.
Okay, let's get this.
Let's get the show on the
Let's
road.
get the show on the road. We heard yesterday about how you auditioned for it and everything, but I want to kind of hear it from your perspective of finding
Oh,
your
sure.
Wynonna.
It's super cool. I'm sitting right here.
Okay, good.
Just
Can
saying.
you just drink your tea
Just
and
be honest.
cool?
Yeah.
So obviously the whole show depends on the actress who plays Wynonna, no pressure.
Oh God.
No, we auditioned every single woman in Canada, whether they were an actress or not. We were just like, sorry, get through here. If you want to pay your taxes and just do a little skit, that would be great. We auditioned over 300 actresses.
Canada's
and-
not very big.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. And after a while, the truth is they're all doing the same scene. I think it was a scene, they walk into Shorty's, they like order a drink, and then they're like, hey, bartender, I know you're a demon, and I'm a marshal, and I'm gonna kill you, basically. But better written than that, maybe. Oh, no, it was that bad.
I actually have it in my phone. I should pull it
It's
up.
funny, Kat backstage was like, would you ever release the auditions? And I was like, we should sometime, maybe, with your permission someday. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe if we get like season 5, we'll do like a special thing. Anyway, so after a while, it all starts to sound the same. It's not the actress's fault. Lots of people, when they're auditioning for an action hero too, like women naturally tend to kind of like do like Bruce Willis, but with breasts, right? It kind of starts to sound the same. And then as the writer, you're like, maybe this just isn't written right, the scene. And then this crazy biatch shows up. She's super blonde, which was crazy. And she was doing this huge no-no for auditions, which she was chewing like Hubba Bubba gum.
Pretty
Which
sure it was
like
Trident.
the biggest faux pas. Nope, it was huge watermelon gum, just like the biggest fluorescent yellow gum. No, I don't know if that's true. And she came in and played it. She was the only one who got that the character was kind of insane and like super jokey. And like, I was like, this girl is gonna murder someone and I want to marry her. She was amazing. So, right? Yeah, you're welcome. She just stood out like a shining, beautiful star. And then she did another scene where she kind of had to confess to someone who was dolls that she was in love with him, but then it was all a ruse to like steal a warrant or something. And she was so vulnerable and amazing, and she didn't spit her gum out. But honestly, I cannot explain what a testament it is to stand out for like almost 400 actresses. It's just so hard when you're watching and you're seeing everyone, and we've all seen how amazing she is, but she is the show. She is Wynonna Earp, 100%. It just would not be what it is without you.
Is that
Beyond
how
my wildest dreams, and just what she can do and what we can write for her is amazing.
Is that how you remember it?
Yeah, I was amazing.
Yeah. You're amazing.
No, I don't.
Do you remember me? Was I in the room?
Yeah, I actually do.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Fudgin' do.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because
Melanie, there are children in the room.
sorry, I can't say fudgin'.
You can say fudging.
You can say fudge.
I said the C word, but I
know.
Say it as the country.
can't. I can't. I can't say it.
Lizzie's fine got it.
Lizzie, stay on task. Stay on task. Yeah.
No, don't apologize. You can't be serious.
Goodbye, everybody.
Trying to
Panel
see how
over.
she does it.
Yeah.
You'll have to show me that word later. I missed it. No, a lot of times those rooms are just so cold and not physically cold. Like just the again, we talked about it in the panel yesterday. It's just very judgy. Like necessarily, they're judging your performance, but Emily and Lisa, because it was just such a Lisa's our casting director, and you were at the callback, and it was just so warm and fun, and just like I think you set the tone for what the audition should be as well. Like I was like, oh, I get the character because of the way you were. So I remember that.
I'm so sorry, Joe. I'm so sorry, Joe. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
I recall that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see what you've got to say. Some questions. You were very up first. Very up first. That's not even appropriate.
Sure, that's good. That's fine.
Going super well.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Mel, would you ever let Emily cut your bangs?
Wow. No. She keeps telling me not to keep cutting mine, but I'm trapped in a cycle. It's Groundhog Day. What do I do, Mel? Buy a hat.
Stop cutting your. But I don't see the mullet.
Oh. It's like right, look at it. See? You can see it.
Well, now.
Yeah, see? I'm bringing it back.
It's just layered.
Is it? It's like Jennifer Aniston from the 1997. I'm bringing it back.
Here's the thing. I wonder.
Have you ever had bangs?
Yeah. But they're tough.
They're
There are a
tough,
lot of upkeep.
baby.
Here's
They're
the thing
tough.
about to answer your question. I think she would be like, we're just gonna do a bit. And then she's gonna be like, oh, I think that's crooked. Is that crooked? I think that's crooked. What do you think? Is that crooked? And I'd be like, no, it's fine. And she'd be like, I'm just gonna sort of play it. And she would fix it. And then she'd be like, oh, I just did a bit more on this side. So I'm just gonna do this side, and it would just never end. And that's, I think, how a mullet would happen.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. We've got, if you come down.
I'm going to do a
first in
bangs
the-
cutting workshop
Yeah,
next.
yellow jumper and then behind.
Hello again.
Hi.
I just want to say big thanks to Making Lost Girl as well.
Oh,
And
thank you
If
for watching it.
If I understand good on Klexicon with the Lost Girl panel, I think there was an announcement about Anna Silk is gonna be in the show as well.
Yeah, she's
And
going to.
can I ask when she is coming? Is it this season? And if she is coming, is she be a villain or a good one?
She's always a good one. Anna Silk is a good one. Whether her character, whose name is Kevin, is a good one or not remains to be seen. She is showing up next week in America, and in a
So,
and she's showing up in a fortnight, in the UK. Is that correct?
yeah, fortnight.
All right, good. And I know no one in the UK watches it illegally and won't see it next week. So
We
just
don't do
hold on. She's so amazing. I mean, I won't say if she's good or bad. She's very good on the show, and you guys had a lot of fun. But I would say she's very different from Bo. She's a very different character, which is how I woo the Lost Girl girls. I say, you can play something else. So thank you for watching that show. That show changed my life.
And yep, the question back there. And then
Hi.
Hi.
In the previous panel, we talked about Rosita's backstory, and that made me think about maybe possible spin-offs. So I was just wondering if there's ever any conversation about possible spin-offs from Wynonna Earp.
Oh, I would love, there's so many spin-offs. I would do young Nedley would be a spin-off, would be amazing. Yeah, I know, it'd be so cute. Like Nedley and Calamity Jane time traveling adventures would be great. I don't know, yeah, I think it would be hard to do like a period piece, like an actual Old West, Rosita, Doc, Robert Svane, stuff like that. But what about Wynonna in space? That seems natural.
Better than musical.
Yo. Yeah, if you guys want more Earp, I'm just gonna Earp it up 24/7. So, sure. Yeah.
Cool.
But I definitely don't think Rosita's story is finished.
Cool. Yeah, we got a question.
Thanks.
Yep. Yep.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Hi.
My question is, well, obviously sisterhood is a big part of the show, but it's quite an unexplored subject on TV in general. I just wanted you guys to talk about sisterhood and Waverley and Wynonna's sister relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the sisters. The sisters for me is like kind of the romantic anchor of the show, or at least like it's not romantic, but it's like it's the true love affair of the show. I think they are each other's cornerstone. I don't have a sister. Do you have a sister? Do you want to be my sister? I love you. I know. I love you.
Is it weird that we're married?
No. Sister wives.
Do we have to choose?
No.
Breaking
It's
ground.
2018. We can
Yeah.
be whatever we want.
That's true.
Do you want to get banks with me?
Nope.
What do you think about the sister relationship?
Well, I was talking to somebody, it was in the meet and greet yesterday, but we were talking about how cool it is to have two people who, whether they're blood or not, they still choose each other, and they choose that relationship, and I think certainly if you don't have a sister, but any family member, like I think, and they said, they said something like, it's nice for people who are adopted, gives them hope to sort of go, well, it doesn't matter that we're not actually related, we're family, and there's something so beautiful about that, and so I think the sisterhood thing goes even beyond. It's just a family, choosing your family, what's the word, theme?
Yeah, choosing your own family, choosing your people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we're all here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's not gonna happen.
I can't.
Thank you.
Okay. Question here at the front this time, and then.
Hi.
Hi.
So on Friday in the workshop, we were talking about body swaps. So I have a question for Mel. So if there was an episode where you could do a body swap with any kind of character from the show, who would you like it to be with?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, anybody, but this just came to me. I'm not marrying this idea. Please don't quote me.
Yeah. I'm writing it.
Be interesting to do a body swap with Mama.
Whoa.
Because then, what are the rules? Would I get to see her brain? Would I know what she's thinking? Or do I just have her
No,
body?
you just have her body and people are just treating you like you're Michelle.
Ooh, interesting. Oh, I might do that. I could get some
What is this, your first body swap?
Yes. I would maybe do that. I could get answers about our family.
Oh. Although you did just do a good cat, so again, Calamity Jane. It's Calamity Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like a body swap episode? That'd be fun.
Who would you body swap me with? Well, you can't tell
Who
me.
would I body swap you with? Anyone.
Who
I
would
think-
you body swap with?
Oh, any of you. You're all so fit. Oh, actually, I want your body. Just to walk around looking like you, I'd be like, yes, this is amazing. I'm getting so much free stuff. Have you looked in the mirror? Have you ever looked in the mirror? I'd body swap you with, I'd love you all to swap bodies. I think it would be funny if you swap bodies with Nicole. That would be pretty
know.
funny. But even Jeremy, so we did a writing workshop and we did body swap, and so we put them into groups and then they pitched different body swaps and they were really
You
fun.
said writing. I thought you said the grocery shop. I was like, all right, I don't
Okay.
get it.
Varun said earlier on that he wanted Jeremy and Wynonna to.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
And I think that, and everyone in the room was like, oh yeah, do that one.
Yeah, it'd be fun. They're so different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love that. And I also thought of Nicole would be cool just because of the opposite C's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So season 5.
Season
There you go.
5.
Okay,
Get
we've got a
going.
question.
Get going.
Question. We need the mic. And then we're going to come up there.
A question for Emily. Do you have a favourite episode that you've been writing that you've enjoyed to do before?
What's my favorite episode that I've ever written?
Yeah.
I like them all. I really like the season 2 finale where Wynonna gives birth. I thought it was beautiful and the performances were incredible, and it really, well, I was just very proud of it, to be totally honest. And I'm not proud of all of them, so I'm trying not to be arrogant. I liked 303 this year, which is the grieving episode after Dolls dies, because it was honestly very hard to write. My feelings about my scripts are sort of tied directly to how hard they were to do and if they were executed well. And then the thing that I really love is sometimes my favorite episodes are not the same as your favorite episodes, which is what's so great about the show. But what comes to mind is 212 and 303, I think. Do you have a favorite episode?
It's tough.
Again, it must be tied to your experience making it, and
I mean, 212 was special.
Yeah.
And it always stands out. But there's always, there's something I love about all of them, which is sort of cheesy.
No, me too.
But they're all sort of your babies, so it's like choosing between.
And there's always something in everyone that I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, that should have been funnier or better, but we'll get better.
You're hard on yourself. She's hard on herself.
I know. It's because my bangs are punishment.
Good question.
Thanks, Joe.
We've got some questions from in the middle.
Yeah, the middle.
Yeah,
Woo!
Yeah, that's it. Hello.
Who's hungover?
Oh, that's not as many as I thought.
Really?
I saw a bunch of you doing the Macarena in a video. First thing this morning, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Just want to say that some of the best parts of your writing is all the pop culture references you put in there.
Thank you.
I just wonder, where do they come from? Like, do they come from you, the other writers, or the cast? Where do they all come from?
Sometimes they come from you. Sometimes they do. Meh. Yeah,
One.
yeah, it was a good one. The Tessa, Albie Scott was you, which was so funny.
But
They just come from the writers. Pop culture is sort of a tricky one to put into scripts. Some people like it and some people hate it because it does date the show a little bit, unless you use super things that will never go out of style, like Spice Girls or Spice Girls. That's all I can think of. Just classics. Just stick to the classics. But thank you. So we just throw it in, but we try to be careful about what we use, I guess. You don't want it to be too poppy, or else it's like, oh, this was written exactly in May of 2018, and it's already over in June. So it's funny, too, remember the show airs months and months and months after we've shot it. So, for example, we made a couple, Russian collusion jokes and Mar-a-Lago jokes, and I was like, I don't know what's going to be happening by the time this airs, but good news, it's still going on, so no problem. Still relevant, still relevant.
good spin. Way to spin it.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's great. That's good.
Some question right at the back. Yep, with the awesome
The
headpiece.
flower crown. Awesome.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering, which cast member is least like their character?
Ooh. Wow. I think Mel is a lot like Wynonna.
Yeah.
In all the good ways, not the self-destructive ways. Who's the least like their character? Maybe Tim.
Yeah.
Because he's such a fucking Hufflepuff in real life. If you told Tim to stay at the bottom of the well forever, he'd be like, okay, yeah, no problem. Do you want my jacket? Is it cold up there? I don't know. Who else? Michael Eklund's pretty different than his character. Oh, you don't think so? Oh, nope. He's intense.
he's not.
Varun is like a living nightmare, so he's pretty, no. I don't know.
Well, that's a hard one.
Calamity Jane is a llama, so in real life. I don't know, I don't know.
I was gonna. What about Greg?
Craig Lawson?
Yeah.
Nedley?
Yeah.
I guess so. Because he hates Uma Thurman? Yeah, maybe.
No, I think probably Tim.
Yeah.
Tim is
But there's definitely like, we have the most lovely cast alive. So I feel like slowly their wonderful personalities have also kind of infused the characters. Write what you know a little bit. So, yeah. Good question, though.
Thank you. And can we go to the one that's... yeah, go there. Another flower hair.
Flower
Hello.
crowns first. Hello.
So many of you. We'll get to you all.
I think we can all agree that the show is totally hilarious, and I wanted to know if you could tell us the funniest thing that happened to you related to Wynonna Earp.
The first thing that happened to us.
The funnest thing.
Funnest.
The most,
Oh,
yeah,
the
most fun.
funnest thing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I feel like meeting all these Earpers and realizing people that getting what we're trying to do has been pretty amazing. One of my favorite memories is going to WonderCon, which is in LA, and we showed the cast the premiere, like we rented a theater, and I don't know what you guys had thought, but they hadn't seen any of it. So they were like, what the hell is this show we were making, I'm sure. So seeing them watch the show for the first time and not barf, I think, was amazing. I love that memory, and some of them were quite moved, and were like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then for me, I think the first time I realized what the Earper fandom could do really was maybe the first Klexicon I went to, and when we walked into the room with Kat and Dom, I was like, oh my God, look at all these people cheering and getting it, and this is an army, and we're gonna save the world. So that was pretty good. Yeah.
Some more questions. Stick your arm
I
up.
think it's like the live tweeting. I'll just be quick. Yeah, live tweeting is pretty great because you're just all sort of in it together, and a lot of times we haven't seen the episodes if we hadn't had time or whatever. So, or if we just want to watch it for the first time with you guys. So it's just everybody going, holy, like we forget what happens after we shoot it, or like I'm not in a lot of scenes with, I don't know, Dom and Varun or whoever. So seeing that for the first time with you guys is really fun. Yeah.
Cool. Right. So can we go to the glasses there and then?
My glasses.
Sorry.
If that is your real name.
It is. My mom hates me. My question is for Mel. If Emily could do a cameo on the show, what would you make her do?
Ooh.
I would put her in the most see-through dress.
Oh my God.
And I would make her swim. She would be like an evil mermaid.
Guess who's getting banks next year? Guess who's getting banks next year?
Yeah. And it would be, say, February in Calgary, and there'd be like, the camera would stop working because it's so cold, and she'd be like, so we got the scene, right? And I'd be like, no. No, we have to do it again. Your bangs were in the way.
Awesome.
That's
Evil
so
mermaid.
good. I'm just gonna show up on set and do it. No one's gonna be like, get out.
Okay. There was yeah. You. This is getting hard now.
Buongiorno.
Hi.
I wanted to ask, Melanie, do you prefer playing characters similar to you or different to you? And Emily, do you prefer writing characters similar to you or different from you?
Well, I think I like playing different to me just to stretch myself. But I think with every character, you try to go, okay, how is this character like me? And just try to infuse that part of you into whoever they are. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder. But I like playing different.
Yeah, I don't know how much I'm like any of the characters. So, I mean, there's a little bit. I understand what their motivation is. Michael Eklund always says, which I like, villains don't think they're the villain, right? They think everyone else is in their way and they just have a plan. I think I like writing different. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for that question. Right.
It's a no-lose. It's a no-lose. Yeah.
Down here. And then.
Hello.
Hello.
So obviously, as a fan right from the beginning, I've noticed in like the last year or year and a half, like the fandom seems to be changing, and sometimes it's getting a bit more negative, and like I find there's more like people saying they're not included and stuff. Well, how much of that do you actually see, and does anything like that like make people come off Twitter and stuff like that?
I think it. Can I go? Sorry. I think it's inevitable that things are going to change a little bit, and like it's kind of a blessing and a curse because more people are invested in the show. More people have expectations of what they want from the show and what they want from the characters and what they have been drawn to in the show, and like we don't all want the same things. It bothers me a little bit when people say they aren't included in the fandom because like you can just be a part of the fandom. I don't get that much. You know what I mean? I'm honestly like, I'll talk to anybody. We're so happy you're watching and a part of it. You can find your people, but it's not high school, even if it feels like that sometimes. We're just so grateful for you guys, and like, I hope it retains what makes it special, which is that everybody loves the show and is invested in it, and we try to be kind to each other and inclusive, but we're not all the same people, and the more people we have watching the show, the better it is. So I definitely am not touching that stuff on Twitter, though. It's none of my business, so. I don't really go on Twitter either, so just kidding.
I actually haven't noticed it. I haven't been on that much, except for when we live tweet, but I haven't noticed it. But I would say too, like, it's so, we've talked about it before, it's so easy to notice the negative because it stands out, and it affects us more, but it's more about just sort of going, okay, well, that's there. Like,
look at this.
Yeah.
Like, this is incredible, right?
Yeah.
This is like what
and
is
that's,
incredible about
I think
the
the exercise is to like just read. So it's like I could look at this or I could look at this, and I just choose this, and which is easier said than done. But I think that's just what we have to do, and accept that, yeah, with the growth, which we all want, comes change. But we can be the model of what that change looks like, and those who want to be part of that will be, and then those who want to be negative, we can mute.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, all you have to do to be an Earper is say you're an Earper. Congratulations, you're an Earper. So that's it. Yeah.
Earper. You know, there's lady in the glasses. She's got her hands. She's been sticking her hand up for ages. So I know you all.
She's getting a cramp.
Yeah, we've got it.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh,
I know. Good hustle.
I was wondering about. It hasn't been brought up since season 1, but the Gus and Wynonna relationship. Why did Gus not necessarily treat Wynonna the best growing up when we know that Gus and Michelle were sisters? Why did she like have such a hard time with Gus growing up? I just wanted to really interesting to me just to find out what was the.
I love that question.
Yeah, I think Wynonna was a total shit. No.
You wrote me.
I know, and I'm telling you what you are, which is shit.
Mom, what are you doing? Oh.
Yeah, definitely tweet that out of context, please. After I'm like, let's be kind. Melanie is shit. No, not Melanie. No, I think we need to remember that Wynonna was like basically a juvenile delinquent. She was a criminal. She was in and out of foster homes and insane asylums, and probably burned down Gus's home like 10 to 20 times, which was unnecessary. No.
You don't know how to party. I don't know.
So I think Gus adored Wynonna and tried her best, but like, I think there's a reality of if you inherited 2 kids after this horrible trauma, and maybe Gus didn't want to be a parent, maybe Gus didn't know how to handle a 13-year-old who had killed her own father and claimed to be seeing demons. I have sympathy for Gus in the same way I have sympathy for Wynonna, and I think that relationship in the pilot feels very real to me, actually. And you can say I'm shit.
I just want to say I can't.
You can say that.
Gus. Yeah. Yeah, I think just like in a lot of relationships where you just like, I don't know how to fix you. I think she just loves Wynonna so much. I think she's like, I don't know how to fix you, and I think that's frustrating. And I think she wants what's best for Wynonna, and her version of tough love is be like, here's some money, go. I'm gonna protect the one I can. Is that sort of, yeah, the smartest thing I've ever said?
I don't think Wynonna's shit.
You think I'm shit?
No, I think you're the best. I think you're the shit.
Thank you.
Like the best.
Thank you.
Got a question down the front
she is,
here.
right? Yes, I really do.
I know.
Hi. Are there any character or relationships you'd want to explore more in the future?
Me?
Both of you.
All of them. I love putting together 2 characters who don't get a ton of screen time and just letting them loose and see what happens, because I love the characters so much. And as I see what the cast is able to do, it's so fun to pair them up, and it's just such a fresh take on a storyline, I think. Is there anyone in particular you want
Nedley.
Oh, Nedley. Yeah, Nedley Wynonna. Oh. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Just happened where?
I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later.
I just did a thing and I didn't mean to do it.
You know what the thing is, you just don't know you know.
All right, I'm going home. I don't know. Did I hallucinate? She just said, you're a shit. I'm like, I know.
I was like, do you want me to cut your bangs for real? That's all I said. All of them. I love the characters, and I think there's so much comedy that comes from even like Doc and Nicole haven't had a big storyline yet.
Cool. And we stay on the front with you. He's got the most awesome T-shirt.
I know.
When you read the script, when you write the script, you imagine the scenes in a certain way. How different are they in the final shooting?
Oh, they're so much better by the time Melanie does them. She's just such a gift. Honestly, it makes me want to cry.
Gift is German for shit.
No, it's not. No, I'm bringing this back home. I'm rounding the bend. She's just incredible. In some ways, I think Mel makes me a lazy writer because she's so extraordinary that I can give her like 4 different emotional turns in the same scene, and like just a normal human actress couldn't do it. Couldn't go from like comedy to vulnerable to funny to tough as hell. So I'm undisciplined with Mel because I just don't want her to get bored, and she's just extraordinary. Also, even like, obviously, I have a nervous tic, which is like babbling and babbling. So I feel like to have found an actress that can just like zing on those jokes is just like amazing. I love you.
Yeah, it's fun when it's different. I love when it's different because you feel like, oh, I did my job, first of all. Like you want to give life to things and, earn your paycheck. But then also when other people read it differently sometimes, you're like, oh, doing that, okay. That's really exciting. But then also sometimes it's just different because like the fight, it will be different because sometimes with a fight, you're like, I can't picture what that looks like, and it's not my job to. That's why there's a stunt person, and so then that's always really interesting, or the special effects. Remember season 1, we were like, react to demons sucking back to hell, and we're like,
run from a tentacle.
And we're like, I don't know what this show is yet, so what does that look like? Is it hot? Like, am I hot? is it? Like, do I see the devil? What is? So it's really fun to be different. Yeah.
I have a question at the back. Another plaid.
There's a lot of plaid in this room.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi there. I was wondering if you could describe the final in 3 words. What would those be?
The final what?
The finale.
And without giving any spoilers.
Wynonna Earp finale.
Well done. Yeah.
I will say everything fucking changes.
That is the best description. Did you give yourself goosebumps? Yeah.
No, because I impressed you, which makes me feel good.
Wow.
No, because what else can you say? That's exactly.
Wynonna Earp finale.
Well, you could say, yeah.
Seriously.
Everybody gets bangs.
Say something for season 4.
That's the big look. Okay, so there's a question here at the front.
Emily, that question just reminded me that at the dinner on Friday at our table,
If I said something.
there was a question about 2 truths and a lie, and you said you needed a little time to think about it. And there was a pinky promise.
Fuck, I did a pinky promise, which is like a
did.
legally binding contract. Fuck, I had to come up with 2 truths and a lie for the rest of the season.
Oh.
Okay. I'm gonna do this. This is be amazing.
What a procrastinator. You had all weekend.
Okay. Nicole and Doc have a really interesting storyline. Waverly's dad shows up. Nedley makes a really important choice.
2 truths and a lie. Okay, there was someone on this. We're gonna go to another question straight away. Yeah, there's you right on the end there. Yeah, you just put your hand back down. I can't really see you.
They're bailing on their question.
Hi. This is a question for both of you, but mostly for Emily. Since your show kind of applies diversity in a very effortless way, I wonder if you had conversations with like other writers or other people who work for TV or film, how to do that or how to make it easier for other shows. I'm not naming any other networks, but CW, what? Because like, I come from a different fandom, and it's funny to see how different and how easy it is for other shows and how difficult it is for others.
Oh, well, thank you for the compliment. I don't think it's effortless, diversity, and we can always strive to do better. We are a small Canadian show with a small cast. It is not my job to teach other shows that you want them to be more diverse. It is your job and your dollars and your eyeballs to tell them what you want. And I don't mean that in a weird way. We talk about it a lot in the writing room among ourselves. I don't know if we will ever be able to be everything to everybody. We are not Nutella, as Melanie says, and also we just don't have the numbers. But things are changing at an extraordinary rate, which is really exciting, actually. I know it seems despairing. Things have changed more in the last 5 years as far as audience demanding to see themselves on television than they have in the last 20 years before that. So please be hopeful and positive and use your voice. It's so encouraging too. This kind of thing just helps me show my bosses that there's an audience for the stories we want to tell. Like, just fucking yell it, please. Keep doing it, like, honestly. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
There was, one question. You've got a black shirt on, you're at the end. Behind, you've got it.
Hello. Who has been your favorite character? Villain.
Where are we?
Ooh,
villain.
Character villain.
Who's your favorite villain?
I mean, oof. I feel like I'm cheating on one. If I say that. I mean, they're so different. I love Bobo because he brings the crazy, but I love Bunny.
Bunny,
yeah.
blah, blah.
But Bolshar's so...
Such a dick.
Yeah. but so refined. Like we
very
see that
different
all
energy.
the time. Like in real life, there are plenty of villains that look like they've got it all together, and then you're like, oh my God, how'd you become president or whatever? Like whatever.
Hypothetically,
like or
yeah. Yeah, I have a soft spot too for like the human villains, like the Tuckers and the Bunny Loblaws, because I feel like those are the people who just make our actual lives really tricky. So
yeah,
they can be kind of insidious. But.
Cool. We have a question at the front here.
Hi, Beyonce.
I danced for you last night.
Okay.
I just want to know, I'm sorry for my voice. I just want to know how much did you eat during the Jolene episode? How much did they feed you?
How much what?
Brownie did you eat for the Jolene episode? Didn't you eat one?
I took one for the team.
Floor?
I didn't just eat one that fell on the floor. I had stepped on it.
Nice.
It was flat.
Wow.
I am a committed actor. I picked it up. I smushed it a bit on my way up so that it looked like a full brownie, and I ate it.
Amazing. Get this woman an Emmy immediately.
A lot.
Cool.
And
There's a question
it was not
in
my
the
least favorite
middle.
episode.
Who's going to get to them first?
Do you think we'll ever get like a musical episode?
Melanie is begging and begging and begging me not to do it. Yeah. Have you guys seen a show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Okay. Have you seen an episode they did called Once More with Feeling?
Yes.
Do you think that could be improved upon? No. Maybe. Lucky number 7. Season number 7.
There you go.
Do you want to?
Yeah. You could do that.
Melanie can sing. What? Who
No,
said
I
that?
can't. No, I can't.
You can.
But listen, you have Dom and you have Chantal.
Yeah.
I have you.
No. But I mean.
You can play the bongos.
Yeah.
No,
I'll
you
be
can
taking a
sing.
nap.
Okay.
That'll be the nap episode.
There's question just right by you, and then some at the back there. So yeah, you first. Yep. You.
Is there much ad-libbing that goes on? And is there anything that was ad-lib that just turned out to be gold then on screen?
Did I hear arguing? I'm so sorry.
Ad-lib?
Yeah.
Ad-libbing.
There's some.
There's some.
What's that? Oh my God, this panel's a disaster. We made someone cry. Oh no.
Milk is coming out. No, it's
Yeah. Not me. I'm like, not my kid, not my problem. Yeah, no, just kidding.
No, I think what.
Yeah!
It must be time. Yeah. If they just switch the little mics on.
Turn your
in
mic
front.
on.
It must be time for the WayHaught panel.
I know, exactly. Hiya, we didn't say... Yes. Hello.
We got told to crash. We didn't just crash.
Yeah. No, my God, please help us.
Hello?
We made a kid
Hello,
cry. It's so good you guys got here. He's out there off
This is unexpected. So you've
So
got all 4
ad-libbing.
of them. We were just talking about ad-libbing actually on the
Ad-libbing.
show, which is kind of perfect because you just came in and
and ad-libbed.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what?
So you can all
We
answer
can't
that
control
question.
them. Yeah.
I think so. Just to try to, I think the gift of the show and of the writing is that sometimes it seems like ad-libbing when it's not, because it's so well written and it's so I see a lot of times people are like, was that an ad lib? And I'm like, no.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
But sometimes it is, and I'm very blessed to have Emily's trust. I think if it started becoming an ad-libbing festival, we would be in a lot of trouble. I think it can be, I think, insulting to the writers sometimes when people start going overboard with ad-libbing just because it's like, all right, you're like, I think a lot of shows don't like it, and I totally get it. And as an actor, sometimes I've seen it where people are like, people start ad-libbing, and then it's like, oh, I'm going to be funny too, and I'm going to be funny too, and then I'm going to be, and then where does the scene end? It's like, so you have to be, it's tricky. So
Mel's always a good ad-libber because she's always in character as Wynonna, right? But the problem with ad-libbing is sometimes it's not in character, or we have so much mythology and so much serialization that we're kind of like, we kind of need you mostly to stay on book just because we need this information. I will say, like, the cast needs to be celebrated for just like extraordinary choices in other ways, just the physicality of their characters, Doc eating, I always say, like, Doc eating Chinese food in 301 with his knife instead of chopsticks. It's just a great example of like such in character physicality.
And he's always on book. Like he does not deviate from the script, which I love, because I'm always like, you're not going to step on my line, which is cool. But he ad-libs in other ways. So like exactly what you're saying. Like he'll ad-lib in his character with like props or,
It's really hard to make comedy seem that natural, though. Like, again, another testament to this cast, right, is it seems so organic and good.
When we talk about ad-libbing, we're talking about Melanie Scrofano. I've been, like, so unbelievably inspired by you, since the beginning, because I was...
You came in.
Just came to, like, give you a little bit of love. No, but it's true. I am completely the opposite. When I first started, I've come from a dancer's background. There is a way that you learn it, and that's how you perform it. Right. And, there is very much a structure to the technique. And then when I first started playing with Mel, she was just doing all sorts of, like, not all the time, like you say, but when it's appropriate, and just finding, like, little moments, like little special things. And I just remember being, like, so petrified by it. Like, do you remember? Like, I was just like, but they're going to tell us off about the fact that we're doing it wrong. Like,
I think you also didn't know that Ron Murphy would tell me to ad-lib.
I know, and I didn't know. So I was just like, oh, I guess she's doing that, and now I have to do something. And it was really, really inspiring, and I learned a lot as an actor to be like, you just have to let go. Yeah. You just have to let go of fear. That was the thing that was crippling me for so long, because it's like you just have to let go of fear and play and trust the other person. And what Mel does so well is she supports you. So then over the time, every now and again, don't I slip in a little something now, which is like only when you feel really supported.
But you also do a lot. It's more, you're more, again, with the physicality. Yeah, which is great. Which is, I don't so much think of as ad-libbing. I just think of as you're in the character, doing the character.
Well, it's because it's such an amazing skill to think that fast in the moment, and that's what you guys.
Speaking of ad-libbing, I'm sorry.
You've got it.
She, I'm saying it. We did an improv class.
Oh God. I was so
she
scared.
was so good and fast, and the other girl who's an actress was like, but I can't.
No, it was so scary.
You guys were
It was
so
so
brilliant.
scary. It was so good to see how terrifying it is to act. I was like, this is fucking terrifying.
But because you're not an actor, you were so much better. It was so
That's generally true about jobs. If you're good, thank you. It was so scary.
Melanie, Emily, I think you have another appointment to get to.
Love you guys. Enjoy your panel.
Melanie and Emily. Thanks so much.
She's nervous because her dad's here.
Hi, Dad. Are you out there? Oh, he's taking photos in classic parent fashion. Hey! Hello. I love the fact that he's standing up at the back. It's like back at school when you just come to assembly. Hello.
Great.
This way? Oh, sorry.
No, hello, I'm good. You good?
Yeah.
We're okay.
Yes.
Now we're on the WayHaught panel. Right, okay, I think I've got it. Don't need to make any announcements. I need to just tell Catherine something. Yesterday, when we had a lunch break,
I'm so excited.
we walked past a field not far from here that's got horses in it.
I saw it.
Did you see it? And we thought, we were like, there, the three of us, we were just like, oh, we need to tell Kat that.
I saw it.
So,
was it black and white?
Yeah, there was two horses in there. So good. I'm glad you've seen that. Right. I just needed to do that in the room to remember.
They're so
Yeah,
majestic.
for anyone who wasn't here, we had a big conversation about horses yesterday on the panel. And Kat is a big fan.
And you not so much.
Well, Dad, I told the story. I don't know where you've gone, but I told the.
Over there.
Oh, hello. Hi. Yeah, I told the story about how when we lived in that kind of amazing abandoned wreck in the outskirts of Bristol, and Jan made me ride horses, and I didn't want to, and I fell off, and you were there, and we were telling that story on the panel yesterday. Yeah, good times.
Okay, over to you. Right, you were quickest, so I'm going to do the running of the volunteers now.
Oh, we're going
again.
straight into questions.
We are.
Straight
Yeah,
into
nice.
I'm tired.
Hi.
Hello.
I was just wondering, with an eventual WayHaught wedding, what do you think it would be like? What do you think your characters would want, and like, how do you think the other characters would be when they're there? Would be like when they're there? Sorry.
Oh.
I think it would be very small and intimate,
Yes.
for sure.
We had this question, where was it? Last convention?
I don't know.
Love Fan
Barcelona?
Fest?
Yeah.
And it's such a lovely question, isn't it? Everybody goes really quiet, and they're just like, oh. Hopefully one day we get to see it. But I would say, yeah, probably on the homestead, just with the people that really are like family to them, which is all of the characters in the show. But yeah. And it would be intimate and beautiful, and I think that they'd probably say some nice words, nice speeches.
Where do you think they would go for their honeymoon? We talked about this before.
Somewhere warm.
Somewhere warm.
I feel like, by the way, just quickly going back to that, you should definitely wear that suit, but in white. You know the suit?
Oh,
That-
from the beginning of the season.
Didn't you say it was in white? You can get it in white?
You can. Danny Kind owns it in white.
There we go.
No. Danny Kind wore it on Working Moms in white for her character's wedding. Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, I loved that outfit.
And Waverley would be in a very pretty number, obviously. It's a bit of lace,
Dress.
probably.
A little lace dress. Yeah, I think it would be so
Okay, we've got
magical.
question here now. Stop. Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry for my English, I'm so sorry.
C'est correct, on peut parler français si tu veux.
That's sexy, I love that.
Je pose la question en français alors, Dominique, tu pourras
Oui,
traduire?
puis moi je vais
Ok.
essayer de traduire, même si...
Super. En fait, ma question, je voulais savoir en fait si on vous proposait un projet à toutes les deux.
I can't hear over all of the laughing, but yeah. Go one more time, love.
In English.
Oh,
In
okay.
English. It's okay. Would you sign up for a project together again, but play different characters? You understand?
Would we sign up for a project together, but as different
Yeah.
characters?
Yeah.
Like Natasha and Elise did in that movie after Carmilla. Yeah. I would love to.
I would love to,
I would absolutely love
absolutely.
to. And it would be really, really fun to discover another relationship with you that maybe
Yeah.
wasn't romantic, but you know, a different kind of relationship would be very fun to play.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
We'd be
yeah.
like, but I know you more intimately than that.
Yes. I
Would
almost
be
feel
how
like
it
it would be, we'd really have to work hard to
get rid of that familiarity, yeah.
Nicole and Waverly, yeah.
Cool. We'll go to the hat. Sorry, this is a terrible way to describe people. We'll go to
Mika.
the hat.
Hi.
No, my God, the next
That
one.
hat.
I have a question for Kat. Will we be able to see the Cannonball film? that you made?
Yeah, really
We-
soon.
we wanna see
actually.
it.
Yes, I'm gonna put it online. I'm gonna put it on YouTube, guys. But I'm really nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so
come on.
nervous.
It's so good.
to put my work
Yes.
out there. You may see a familiar face. 'Cause
I'm
I
in
was
it.
Like,
Yes,
please
we know.
do this with me. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm in it for like a very split second. That is not what the movie is about. It was just a little pickup that we did whilst I was in LA. But it's really fantastic, and she's going to be all nervous and shy. And obviously, whenever you put anything of your work out there, I can't even imagine if I put a song out there, for example, that would be my
That's
equivalent.
the feeling.
And that anxiety that would come with the fear of how people are going to take that piece of art that you've created. It's like your baby, right?
Yeah.
And a very vulnerable side of yourself. But it is fantastic, and it's an amazing, amazing thing that you did by yourself as a young woman, and it's like so cool that you get to put that out there, Kat. So
I'm gonna do it.
I'm
I am
gonna-
gonna do it. Yeah. It's coming.
you have
Thank
to-
you for saying that. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be like within a month. It'll be. I'm gonna launch actually 2 to 3 of my films on YouTube. I'm just gonna.
We'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for your support. Yeah, it means a lot to me that you guys are so supportive of my like tiny little directing endeavors. It really means a lot to me to have that.
Gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere.
Gotta start
Yeah,
somewhere.
and you gotta make mistakes. Thank you. Appreciate that
Okay.
a lot.
So we've got a lady in the stripes there, and then we're going to go to a red
Lady in
t-shirt afterwards.
stripes.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's check.
That's check, but
Check,
then
and
when
then
we'll
we'll
go
go
to
for
stripes.
stripes.
It's
There we go. All right,
There,
you
right.
go. We'll go after.
Do plaid and then stripe. Oh, do
Okay.
stripe.
Hi.
You know what? Do what you want. I'm tired.
God, we're all so polite.
Hi. It's not really a question, just more of a thank you. I was about to call you Waverley. Dom, everything that you've done with Start the Wave and all of your little video projects that you've done have been amazing and such an inspiration to, I think, everyone in this room and every other person that's involved in this fandom. And it's inspired a lot of other sub-projects, including my girlfriend's one, which, I think is amazing, and I love seeing, everything coming from that. And Kat, seeing you being so vulnerable and sharing your own stories has been an inspiration personally to me and to, I'm sure, a lot of other people. So not a question, but just a huge, huge thank you to you both.
Sweet.
Thank you.
That's great. Okay. Wow. That's so amazing.
Thank you. You made me cry.
Okay, let's get a question while you dry.
Okay.
All of us.
Let's
Just
try
because
this
my
again.
dad's here, that's all.
Go for it.
I was gonna ask about when you read the proposal scene that was came.
Thanks, Debbie.
I was wondering
Earpers.
how you guys felt about it, and how do you think your character felt in that moment when it happened?
Oh.
She was like, oh, it's such a. I felt exactly how Nicole felt, because I think like, what a horrible thing to have your girlfriend think you're proposing. You're like, I'm not. It's not. This is not the way I would do it. I think. Oh, I just think it was so awkward. Oh,
I
it
originally,
made me
when
sick.
I know, Kat felt really uncomfortable about the whole thing. She was like, "This is not fun."
So not fun.
But actually, when I first did the first couple of takes, I don't know if you saw this, but I played it like I thought Waverley would, which would be very, very disappointed, and I had like tears come to my eyes, like with excitement and whatever. And Varun looked at me, and he was like, "Oh, poor Waverley," because it was like so bad that it made Kat look really like, it was too much. I went too far. Too real. I went too real about how Waverley would feel in that moment and how disappointed she'd be, but then also So then right on the last take, thank goodness, I did a like, oh, that's fine. Oh, like as if she was like trying to cover it up about how nervous she was, which they used, which made it funny. Thank God I did, because otherwise it would have been like this amazingly funny comedy scene that then went like, oh no, and you'd start feeling really bad for Waverley. So good job I thought about that in the last moment.
I think it played really well. I was actually nervous for how that moment was going to play, but I think the way it was, they found the comedy beat that they were looking for in the ready, of just the comedy of errors and like misunderstanding.
And
that
then
it was
like talking about the fact that he's just licked a potato. So
yeah,
it's like
you get out of it really quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was nervous. I was nervous at first for, oh boy, I was like, fuck, this is really gonna be upsetting. Yeah.
Yeah. So some questions on this side. You've got it's a flowery top. Is it kind of like a hoodie that you're wearing? Yeah, keep it up. There we go. There we go.
Hi. What was your favorite scene that you shot together?
This season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
that we've seen already. We're on episode.
Yeah.
Favorite scene.
It's an interesting question.
I know one of my favorite scenes from this season was actually the scene, the sorry scene, where all the sorry balloons, and you're like sitting on my lap.
Oh yeah.
I remember shooting that and feeling like there was no one else in the room. It was one of the freest I felt all season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
My head was so not involved when we were shooting that.
Because it was so intimate and
It
just
was
like we
so-
were in this little
yeah.
kind of like, especially I would say because I had just lived Jolene.
Yeah.
And that was a really, really hard block for me. I was it felt very alone.
Wasn't she amazing?
Oh, thank you, Kat. I'm so emotional. This is hilarious how emotional I am. But it was a really intense block for me because for many reasons. But I remember all of the rest of the cast being like, "Are you alright?" Like because they all knew what I was filming. Like we all read the scripts. Everybody was being really mean to me all the time in the scenes, and I obviously had to start feeling worthless and get myself to a point where I was really. Feeling very, very low. And so then that was like this breath of fresh air doing that scene because she was just like, I'm just showering me with love. And it's even, me as Dominique, having lived that, was just like this, I felt safe. And I think that's exactly what comes out in that scene. And I'm so glad that you reminded me of that because I think I would have forgotten about how that felt.
It's a simple scene, but for me, it was one of my favorite we shot this season.
Good answer, Kat.
Yeah,
good answer. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So, right. I want to go in. Someone got a mic? No. Okay. So I want you to run round because I'm a sadist, and to you, and then we'll come down here, and then we'll come over there. Got a plan.
Hello.
Hello.
You've talked in the past, both of you, about being nervous about some of the WayHaught scenes and how you're worried about how it plays out. Has that got any easier, or do you still think about it? Do you still think about, because I remember you were like thinking about, what have we not done? And Emily said there might be a list. But yeah, has that got easier, or do you still get really nervous about how it's going to play out?
Do you want to take this first?
I think for me, it's gotten easier. It's a different relationship with you guys now. I feel like we've come so far, and there's been so many positive things, and things have been so well received that I feel like we have a trust between us and Emily and you guys as the fans that I feel I don't put as much pressure on myself because I know you guys got our back in a weird way. It's really a nice feeling. But I mean, it's still there, but it's not as bad for me as it was.
Interesting. Yeah. No, totally.
Yeah.
I think for me it's getting more.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. Unexpected answer. But the more I educate myself on representation, how much it matters, and the more informed I get, the more I think about how I choose to do it and how it's going to affect either in a positive manner or a negative manner. And I think that the responsibility is always there now. It's like an instinct for me. And I also particularly look at the writing side of it and stuff like that now, much more than I did, which is it's a different angle, I suppose, for me.
Do you feel like you look at the writing more because you feel more authority to say?
No, because I didn't know before at the beginning really what the importance of positive representation and really what that meant. Like
even in season 2?
I'm just getting more and more educated in it. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
So it's different now. Like, for example, even when we did the scene where I was dancing, it was the first time that I'd ever spoken out about how I felt that the scene should be played in order to be positive representation for young girls that maybe would want to do that. We could actually talk about that.
I would love to talk
about
that.
We've been very excited to talk about this.
Yeah.
We were like, one day we're going to get to say that on a panel, and it's going to
Yeah.
be really cool. Do you want to talk about it? Because you were...
Well, I mean, I think you should take the reins, but I remember Dom coming, because it was really your decision of how, you read a scene like that, and you think, okay, we did the cheerleading scene. Obviously, that was super iconic. Yeah. But I also think you had to, because Dom came in and she said, I don't want to do this overtly sexual because I don't want young women, doesn't matter. I don't want someone to think that this is how they have to behave in this over-sexualized, dressed-up manner unless that's what they really want to do, but to be sexy or to be like she didn't want to perpetuate a stereotype that she didn't believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was extremely brave, and she really stuck to that, and I was so impressed.
I think also it was going on from that. I didn't want young women to think, oh, cool, I'll do that for my partner. And then it was all polished and perfect, and, I was all doing all the stuff. Because I could have done that kind of, I had thought about like the moves of what I was going to do, and I came with like a little routine and all the stuff. So I could have done a very polished, like American, what's that film where they do it?
Bring It On.
And it goes wrong with the, huh? No, Mean Girls, like, the sexy girls that do the thing. It could have been that quite easily, but I just didn't want then young women to see the scene or anyway, and to then do it, and then the reality of it is that it doesn't go perfect. When you do something like that, you come out and then you realize what you look like and that you've just dressed up for somebody, and well, certainly for myself, in situations like that, I haven't done that exact thing, Dad, I promise. Really awkward. But you then suddenly, well, I do, and all my anxiety comes rushing in, and then I start doubting myself, and what have I done, and do they think I'm attractive, and all of those things. And I genuinely thought that's what Waverley that's what would happen. And I was like, I don't want to come out here and just do this perfect thing so that young women feel that they are inadequate if they don't do that, because that's not how it goes. And the fact that you then chose to play, because it could have quite easily been you just looking really like, wow, that's super sexy, and me just being super sexy, and that could have been the thing, 100%. And it would have been a very different scene. But the fact that you then supported me and was like, reacted to me and was like, no, it's good. Because it was completely ad-libbed that I say, do you hate it? Because that's how I felt, I'm stood there with lots of men around the crew and feeling really insecure. So I was like, I've got to use this. This is what's happening right now. I was like, do you hate it? And just like locking eyes with you. I remember being like, what is happening? And that's what came out. But I think that was the right scene to play, and I'm really glad that we got to talk about it.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
And I think how great that you have, because you showing that showed you can do that if that's what makes you feel sexy and that's what makes you feel connected to, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be perfect.
Exactly, and we didn't see what happened after the scene,
Yeah.
so I'm sure that it was a happy ending.
Yeah.
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 Yes. Brilliant. We're going to go here at the front, and then we're going to go back with the...
Hello. Funny you should say that. Hi. About the not seeing what happens afterwards. My actual question is...
What happened afterwards?
Obviously, when you're on screen and doing an intimate scene, and obviously you've got all the crew and everything around you, obviously quite a lot this series we've seen Wynonna overhearing certain things. What's that like to sort of film, even though you're off screen? Is that still quite
We haven't even spoken about this. This is good, because we haven't even spoken about this.
All the sex noises that she overhears? Yeah. No. Do you want to know where we did those noises? Alone in a booth in Toronto.
Individually.
With like a couple sound guys on like a Wednesday morning at 9:30. Yep.
Exactly. A Wednesday morning, that's exactly it. And they're like, okay, so like very awkwardly, like, so now it's actually the scene where, they're Canadians. They're like, it's like it's the scene where, where Wynonna is like overhearing you. So do you want to? And I'm like, oh, so then I'm like trying to make them feel comfortable. I'm like laughing. I'm like, oh, this is going to be really awkward. I don't know what you did or how to make it better because it's awkward.
I think I was just like, this is just going to be awkward. Let's
awkward.
just do it. I mean,
were you first or second? Do you know?
I was.
Us every. Really good. I genuinely didn't mean that to be sexual. Classic. I told you I say all the wrong things on panels, Seth. This is what I mean.
I didn't hear your stuff, so.
Okay. Yeah. So I was in the booth, and then it was just like, okay, so do you want to just go for it? And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. So then you're doing it, and you just want to die, don't you?
Yeah. Oh,
all you want to do is
awkward.
die. You just
I would so much rather have done it
together
on the day. It's true.
Really good. You just want to swap. You just literally are like, you're in the booth and you're just like, I just want this to end. Please, can we end? And then all you're doing is, but you're like, but I have to do it good enough that we don't have to do it again.
So
like it's like
I think I just like stared at the corner of the room.
Did you do more than one take?
I just did a very long take with lots of options.
Yeah, you just like extended it, and then
I was like, well, okay, so
they can snip it up.
They can snip it up, yeah. But I just was like, I'm just gonna go, okay, guys. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, what a fun day that was.
Good question.
Yeah.
I love you got that question with your dad in the room.
I know.
Yeah.
That's like
classic. I'm just like not looking over there at all.
Okay, so we had a red T-shirt that wants to ask a question. Well, the T-shirt doesn't want to ask a question. The person in it wants to ask a question.
Hi guys.
Hello.
So I went to EarperCon last year, and since then, my self-progression has like, I can't even put it into words.
Oh wow.
Because like last year was the first time I spoke publicly, and it was at this panel, and it was the first time I did it without like being like having a panic attack because of you guys, and Earpers made me feel comfortable enough to do so. And so my question is, can you guys talk about your self-progression in the past year?
Ooh, yes. Wow. That is amazing. Do you mind if I start?
Whoa.
This is so bizarre that this question comes up. It's so relevant for me. It's like crazy. Ooh. The last year of my life has been probably like, I'm so sorry about this. I've got this. Similarly, we are sharing something very special because about a year ago I did a meditation retreat in Cambodia, and I did 10 days in complete silence and meditated for 10.5 hours a day. And it was the most intense thing that I have ever done and I could have ever put myself through. And I learned in there the key to getting rid of my anxiety. And it was one of the most unbelievable gifts, but also the scariest thing in the world, because I was like, well, now I have to do something about it. And this past year has basically been, I've been on kind of like a spiritual journey, to be honest. And I was going to say, Dad, this is what I'm looking forward to talking to you about in the pub. So there we go. And the thing about meditation is that if you are fully present and in the moment, anxiety cannot exist, because you're not just slightly in the past and you're not slightly in the future. And when you start realizing that and what time is, I won't go on a big spiritual rant, but it helps ground you. And now I'm just looking at you and I'm present in this moment and I'm trying not to worry that my dad's here and that I'm super nervous and all of those things. And when you can manage to do that and live in your body, it unlocks so much joy and happiness. And I've managed to, it's been the last couple of weeks have been like, whoo, the most challenging, because I've been like, well, this is where I have to put it all into practice. And like when my dad was like, I'm going to come if you want, like, that'd be really nice. It was like the biggest gift he could have given me, but I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? I'm going to be so nervous. But here we are, and I'm doing it. And you've asked this question, which is so relevant, because this past year I've managed to, I don't know, it's been mad, right? Like you stood up there and you were just totally chill in this room, and I think that so much of it has to do with what I'm living at the moment. This unbelievable room of people that we're in, where everybody is just like unapologetically themselves when we're here. And you guys have supported me to be myself, and then suddenly I had to find a way, and I knew I had to go and meditate, because I was like, I need to find a way of enjoying this, because you've been given a gift in your life to be here, and you should enjoy it. You should not be crippled with this anxiety of telling yourself that you're not good enough and telling yourself that you should be constantly fearful of everything. You should be able to enjoy it. And so thank you so much for that question, because it's been the best year of my life, and much of it is to do with you guys. So thank you so much. Yeah, that's so funny.
That's crazy. Wow.
Oh, wow. Don't know why. Wow. Thank you.
Oh, stop it. Maybe for another question. Yeah.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough.
Oh, sorry. This is incredibly emotional. Right, let's have another question. There's so many hands up. I want to go there. You've got a thing on your wrist. Looks really cool. No, both of you look really cool, but the one in front and then the one behind. I'm going to get in so much trouble. Like, you after... Oh, this is like, why is this going all so wrong? Yeah, you. The one that's just turned around. Give her the mic. You. I'm pointing at the long... Yes, finally.
Okay,
Bingo.
yay,
we got there.
I just want to quickly say thank you for the last answer, because I was really, really anxious to ask this question. But it's just special. Yeah. Anyway, I was wondering if you had any funny moments from set or off set, but up to you, just not anything that's like on screen, if that makes sense.
Any funny moments, did you say?
Sorry.
Funny moments when you're filming.
Oh, what was that? No, it wasn't. It was actually a stretch. It was nice. Well, you know, I can't think of slapsticky funny moments, but I can think of moments of intense joy. And what I mean by that is, like, as Dom kind of touched on, I just find us incredibly... Sorry, can you hear me? I find us so... we've said it 100 times. We're so lucky to be on this show, because it's a very unique experience. I think this is a very special moment in time. We were talking about the Me Too movement in our meet and greet, and just everything that's happening in the world. Like, what a time to be alive, and what a time to be a woman, especially. I think just moments of intense joy of watching my fellow... Where did you go? Oh, there you are. Of watching each other, like when I hear Dom talk about her journey, or I see Greg Lawson, who plays Nedley, of how dedicated he is to his craft and how he's been doing this for such a long time, but he cares so much about every little moment, and he's like sitting at the cast chairs and muttering to himself and working so hard, and I just, like, I'm constantly renewed with a joy for my craft, this show's renewed my purpose for wanting to work in television and the media, because I think it can be so hard sometimes when you see things that are out there going like, am I feeding this beast? And is this like, where's the good? Find the joy. And we're so lucky because this is such a unique show and it's so rare that some piece of media is putting so much good into the world. So I think it's just moments of joy where I'm like, God, this is magic. And I think, so I know it's not quite your question, but when I look back and I get flashes of watching, just not even talking to people, but observing their moments and their growth that we've all gone through this together. So I think it's intense moments of joy that I remember I mean, there's funny, slapsticky things, but that's the thing that came to my head when you asked that question.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another question? Yeah? There was question, but yeah, so now the one behind.
Hi. First of all, you two are very beautiful. And Dom, I love your arms.
Right.
I wonder, you are working a lot, you have long days, you are traveling a lot. What do you two do to stay fit and healthy?
Stay fit and healthy.
It's a great question. I've struggled with this so much because I now feel like as I'm getting older, I'm realizing how important it is to take care of my body. I've never, luckily, very luckily, I've never been super, I've luckily never had too much wrapped up in how do I phrase this?
Do you mean that you luckily, like you have a high metabolism and you don't need to worry too much?
No, actually that's not, no.
Not at all. Right, okay. So the other thing, I know what the other thing was. It's either that or you're saying...
I know.
That you luckily haven't been too affected by
So I had
how you should look.
A very long story short, I had a experience where I was possibly going to do some modeling when I was 16, and I was put on a very, very strict diet because I had to lose some weight. I was playing basketball 7 days a week, and I was very fit, and I still had to lose some inches. I worked with a personal trainer who was worried if I lost too much body fat, I would like not get my period anymore, and it was like a big health scare. And at 16, somehow I knew that if I went that way, it was so bad. And I think having to stand up for my health and say no to an aspect of the industry that maybe to a 16-year-old looks quite alluring and glamorous at such a young age gave me something where like I would leave the business tomorrow if it compromised my health. I just don't care enough. However, I will say that my desire to be healthy and take care of my body is something I've not prioritized in my early 20s, and I'm working really, really hard to change my thinking. I exercise not to look a certain way, but to feel a certain way because I am sick of feeling tired, and I'm worried. I do worry about being healthy. The traveling, the jet lag, the constantly moving, the stress of not knowing. Like, I know that I have taken a lot more steps this year to take that much more seriously because I think looking good and being healthy can be two different things. And I feel so passionately about this because I'm like so struggling because I was gonna say,
you should take up yoga.
I do, yeah.
No, really, really, because for me, which will answer your question too, I've just recently got like yoga obsessed, matches very well with the spiritual journey, and it is.
I remember for a season you didn't want to do yoga because you
was worried about my back.
Can I say that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, about your back. Oh, I thought you were about your dancing experience and how the competitive connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's because some classes of yoga are like that. Like there's this kind of like, oh, we're in yoga mode, and like everybody looks really hot and wears like outfits to yoga. You know what I mean? Like matching outfits and stuff, and especially like downtown Toronto or something like that in a big city. But yoga comes from India and the East, and there is it's an unbelievable form of mind-body connection, and it's good for strengthening as well as stretching. It really is amazing. So I'll give you a proper pitch later. But for anybody who doesn't know about yoga, it's amazing because it's a physical meditation. So if you go and you're on the mat, I was doing yoga this morning. I now do it in the hotel room before I come down, and it's just helped me so much. And also, you stay, a little bit in shape, which is nice. Yeah.
I've done quite a bit of yoga, actually.
And you hate it. And she hates it. Damn.
But I also found for me too, I really like sports. I grew up playing sports, so for me, I can't run by myself on a treadmill. It's never gonna work for me. So I think I also shifted to being like, I wanna go to a boxing class, or I really like these group circuit classes, or anything team. I used to play basketball, but then I got really worried about literally getting hit in the face and not being able to work. So I had to stop, unfortunately. But I think finding something you like to do and not worrying about, I don't know, I have so much wrapped up in this because it's so important to be healthy. And for so long, I'm so sorry this is a long answer, but this is like a big thing for me. I feel like because when I was in that place as a 16-year-old, I went, no, I'm not gonna do that. That I associated my rebellion from that of like, I'm just not gonna exercise. Like, take that industry, but now I'm realizing that exercise is not, it's for my health. Yeah. And that's been a huge shift for me. The end. I will not speak on it.
Got it? Yep. Yeah. And that's actually... I know you've all got your hands up, but actually that is the end, sadly, of the panel. I'm sorry, I'm kind of like...
Can we ever...
Something fun.
I'm being told, like, someone got a fun question. Oh, that's a good question. Good question.
You go first.
Dusty Springfield, son of a preacher man, and I've only...
Nice. Good joy.
Yeah.
What's the song, the Kelly Clarkson song that's like keying somebody's car?
Huh?
There it is, Carrie Underwood. You're all saying it, I can't.
One person.
Exploring cheese? That's literally,
Before
I'm like,
he
exploring
cheats.
cheese.
That one.
What's he say?
Before he cheats.
Exploring cheese. Same thing.
Exploring cheese. My favorite is exploring cheese.
Thank you.
Great. Yay.
Thank you so much.